Hello and welcome to our presentation on changes to the policies regarding the citizenship test and visas for migration to Australia. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, citizenship is defined as the state of living in a particular area or town and behaving in a way that other people who live there expect of you. Associate Professor Alex Riley stated that citizenship is an important mechanism to foster integration and make people fully committed to Australia. There is a risk, however, that if citizenship is too hard to attain, a two-tier system of permanent residency will develop in Australia. Those who are full citizens and those who fail to become citizens, though they are permanent residents. Citizenship is a process by which immigrants undergo to have the same basic human rights that permanent residents have, such as Medicare, an education, voting rights, access to welfare, services and security in the life they are making. Changes to the citizenship test will adversely affect these people. Before 1900, Australia was just 6 colonies: New South Wales, Tasmania, South Australia, Victoria and Queensland. While these 6 colonies were on the same continent, they were governed like 6 different rival countries, and there was limited communication between them. A severe drought caused a recession and industrial strikes in the 1890s. 70% of the colony's population had been born here, and with improved communication through the overland telegraph and submarine cables, the people wanted to restrict migrants from Asia who had come to seek their fortune in the gold rush. This information was obtained from the Migration Heritage Centre in New South Wales. Colonisation saw the introduction of white people to Australia, and they did not integrate with the Indigenous population. Prior to 1852, no legal records were kept of the passengers sailing to Australia from foreign ports. After this time, however, customs officers were required to perform quarantine and immigration duties as well as the enforcement of the Passengers Act. Under the Passengers Act 1952, ship's masters were obliged to keep accurate passenger manifests which had to be verified before anyone could leave the ship. This dictation test could be given in any European language, so an Asian person could be tested in French, Italian or English. This meant many Asians wanting to live in Australia failed. This test was also used to discover suspect illegal immigrants. This slide is an example of the propaganda that was used to promote a white-only Australia. Note the long arms with claws trying to get to the Federation of Australia document. One arm has Braddon blot on it. This is a reference to Sir Edward Braddon and his clause that the Commonwealth had to deal with each state separately in financial matters so that it was sure to receive at least a quarter of the total revenue received in each state. This slide shows you an example of the certificate of the 1901 Immigration Restriction Act. It listed restrictions for people not being able to, restrictions for people not having to do the dictation test. The Australian government in May 2014 had 190,000 available places for immigrants. The purpose of this was to build the economy, shape Australian society, support the labour market and reunite family members, some of which had been separated for 20 years. These numbers are set by the government, and this can change to suit the economy and social needs of Australia. This graph shows a state-by-state breakdown of the immigration numbers of the 2015 to 2016 period. New South Wales and Victoria received the greatest number, with the Northern Territory having less than 500 immigrants. There are 6 changes to the Australian citizenship test. The first involves a firm understanding of receptive and expressive language skills. Secondly, all applicants now must have been residing in Australia for 4 years as opposed to 1 year previously. Thirdly, applicants will need to show a firm and deeper understanding and acceptance of Australian values and responsibilities. Fourth, evidence of integrating and contribution to the Australian community, such as employment, participation in community organisations, and school-aged children enrolled in school. The fifth change goes from numerous opportunities to pass the citizenship test down to 3. And lastly, those who have been proven to cheat during the test will automatically fail. These changes are intended to promote integration into community and society. Criminal records will also be scrutinised. Criminal activity, including physical violence and being a member of a gang, will be a component of the entire process. Currently, a point system is in place for immigration to Australia. Australia, the United States and Canada are showing increasing preference for employer-sponsored immigrants and those that are highly skilled, like engineers, scientists, and those in the medical profession and those in information technology. Position for the less skilled immigrants is being restricted. These new changes were implemented on the 20th of April 2017 and decided on feedback received from consultation conducted by the Honourable Concetta Fioravanti-Wells and the Honourable Philip Ruddock in 2015 and the 2016 Productivity Commission Report Migrant Intake into Australia. These are some basic rules which must be followed during the test. Apart from the time factor, these are not too dissimilar to university test requirements. As we can see, Australia's immigration and visa policies have changed throughout the decades, with the most recent changes happening just this year. But those changes haven't always been beneficial to anyone wishing to migrate to Australia. Immigrants who entered Australia on a temporary work visa will no longer be able to have their time as temporary residents included as part of the requirements for citizenship. This has the very real potential to undermine their commitment to Australia. As you can see on this slide, there are numerous jobs that are no longer covered under the 457 visa. The bigger picture, though, is that these changes are going to have a detrimental effect on migrants. Therefore, the requirements and policies need to change yet again. There are 3 issues contributing to labour market opportunities. Firstly, naturalised migrants gain access to positions where citizenship is a requirement, that is in the public sector positions, police force and defence force. Secondly, there is a financial burden on employers to hire someone who has not been naturalised. And lastly, citizenship is important to the employer to lower the incidence of discrimination, knowing that they are a positive presence in the workplace. Immigrants usually perform worse than natives in the labour market. This is due to their lack of ability and incapability and skills, education qualifications, work experience, credentials not crossing over or valued, lack of language, and employers less inclined to hire someone they view as a short-term probability. The term naturalisation has been replaced with citizenship by birth and citizenship by grant. This change happened in 1973 by policymakers. The Shepparton area will also be affected by the changes. For those that are already working but have not sat their citizenship test yet, they may face the possibility of being deported if they fail the test. Employment shortages may be experienced by farmers looking for farmhands, with the greater acceptances going to the highly skilled immigrants. Citizenship is important to the employer as it is seen as a positive step to permanency and employment opportunities increase. Migrants plan their lives with a view to potential rewards and opportunities by investing in their own development. This slide shows you the piece of paper that migrants are all so eager to obtain. They also have a pledge that they must say, and note that is still under God. This is quite significant as Australia is not quite a secular society. For many migrants, English is a second language, so as attending classes to learn English is important. They must be able to show a clear understanding of English to pass the citizenship test. Yet these classes are held at times that is often inconvenient for those who need it most to attend. So what can be done? Well, English classes the timetable should be revised, and the point score scale also needs a revision. The number of highly skilled and lesser skilled migrants also needs to be revised, and changes to the citizenship test will certainly help. And revise the visa changes as well. Now the last three boxes, apparently you can write to the government asking them to look at changes that you suggest, but the time has run out now. We only have till the 1st of June 2017 to provide our views on why this should be changed. I hope you have enjoyed our presentation, and thank you very much.